John Lennon, a name synonymous with musical genius, was also a relentless perfectionist, a trait that both fueled his creativity and tormented him in the studio. For Lennon, a song was never truly finished. There was always a note to tweak, a lyric to refine, or an emotion to capture more perfectly. This constant search for the unattainable perfect take often led to marathon recording sessions, both with the Beatles and throughout his solo career. Think about the raw, personal nature of his songs. Tracks like Julia from the White Album or Mother from his first solo record weren't just tunes, they were raw, open windows into his soul. Julia was a haunting ode to his late mother, a piece of Freudian dreamscape set to music. Mother was a primal scream, a cathartic release of childhood pain. When you're dealing with emotions that seismic, you don't just record a song, you try to bottle lightning. Lennon felt an immense pressure to do these deeply personal stories justice, to make sure the recorded version vibrated with the same raw feeling that inspired it. This wasn't just about getting the notes right, it was about getting the feeling right. And for a man as complex as John Lennon, that was a monumental task. A prime example of this obsessive dedication is the story behind Working Class Hero, a standout track from his first post-Beatles album ** John Lennon, Plastic Ono Band *. This song was more than just a melody. It was a mission statement. Lennon called it a revolutionary song, a sharp critique of how society processes people, sanding down their rough edges to fit into neat, middle-class boxes. It was a classic Lennon move, kicking out at the establishment. Using his voice to challenge the status quo, he poured everything into this track, and the recording sessions became legendary for their intensity. Just 3 days before his tragic death in December 1980, Lennon reflected on the song's meaning in his final interview with Rolling Stone. He explained that true success wasn't about fame or the rock machinery. He said, "What Yoko S taught me is what the real success is, the success of my personality, the success of my relationship with her and the child, and to be happy when I wake up." This deep, personal philosophy was woven into the very fabric of Working Class Hero, making it a song he cared about profoundly. And that care manifested as an almost unbelievable level of effort in the studio. So, how much effort are we talking about? According to Andy Stevens, a tape operator at EMI Studios in London, the quest to capture Working Class Hero was an epic struggle. Lennon didn't just record a few versions, he recorded an endless number of takes. How many? Well, over 100. Stevens estimated it was probably around 120 or even 130 takes, day after day. Lennon obsessed over the song, striving for a perfection that seemed just out of reach. The pressure was immense, and Lennon's famous temper began to flare. Stevens recalled the intense atmosphere, saying that if the sound mix in Lennon's headphones wasn't exactly right, he wouldn't calmly ask for an adjustment. No, he would rip the headphones off his head and slam them against the wall before storming out of the studio. It was a raw, visceral reaction from an artist pushing himself to the absolute limit. This wasn't just a job for him, it was a part of his very being. And the frustration of not being able to perfectly translate the vision in his head onto the tape was maddening. Imagine the scene: one man, one guitar, and an entire studio held captive by his relentless pursuit of a single, perfect performance. While this level of intensity might seem extreme, it speaks volumes about Lennon's character. He possessed a natural, God-given talent for songwriting that can't be taught. But what truly set him apart was his ferocious work ethic, recording over 120 takes of a simple, acoustic song in pursuit of one perfect version is, by any standard, unnecessary. Most artists would have given up after a dozen attempts, deciding to come back another day with a fresh perspective, but that wasn't John Lennon. Quitting wasn't in his DNA. That unwavering determination, that refusal to settle for anything less than what he envisioned, is what propelled him from a kid in Liverpool to a global icon. It shows the incredible care he had for his craft and the deep respect he had for his own art. Lennon's perfectionism was a double-edged sword. It could lead to frustration and smashed headphones, but it was also the engine that drove him to create some of the most enduring and emotionally resonant music of all time. It's a powerful reminder that behind every seemingly effortless masterpiece, there's often a story of struggle, dedication, and an artist's relentless refusal to compromise their vision. It wasn't just about making music, it was about telling the truth, one painstaking take at a time. This combination of raw talent and an unbreakable will is what made John Lennon not just a working class hero, but a hero for the ages. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this look into the mind of a musical legend, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories from music history. See you next time.